Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about a brand new deck from the next upcoming set after Chaos Rising. Over in Japan, the set already released, so they're already playing with the new cards. It's been out pretty much, I guess, the same time as Chaos Rising. It kind of dropped on that same day, I'm pretty sure. So they're playing with new cards over there. You know, no major tournaments, nothing like that, mostly like local level kind of stuff. But I think it's always really interesting to kind of see what that early meta looks like with new sets in Japan, because I do think some of it translates over here to the rest of the world. And looking at this picture right here, you will notice that there is a brand new deck in the A tier. For the last, I don't know how many months, ever since rotation, it's basically been Dragapult at S tier and everything else at B tier, nothing in A tier. So take it with a grain of salt because it's still early. Like I said, this is local level stuff, but I think it's very interesting to see Mega Excadrill in that A tier slot here, because it's a deck that's very interesting. I think when first revealed, some people thought it was bad. Some people thought it had potential, and I think right now the lists are looking very interesting over there in Japan, and I do think that this card has potential. So if you're excited for a new deck and you want to play something that's not Dragapult, this could be the deck for you. So today I just want to kind of quickly give my thoughts on the deck, kind of look through the deck list a little bit and kind of talk about how that deck works. We do have the Ghostveil stuff in the B tier, slightly below it as well, so it looks like that might be pretty decent as well, kind of like a little single prize deck there. But today I'm going to be talking mostly about Mega Excadrill, because I think it's a very interesting deck. And so looking over here on Pokebook here, we see a list kind of right here. Most of the lists kind of follow this general outline from what I've seen as far as like how it's structured, how it functions and everything. So you'll notice we've got the Mega Excadrill line, we've got a 3/3 line of that. And our main kind of engine with this deck is the Matang. We also do have the new Metagross from Chaos Rising, which hits for 330 when there's extra energies attached and you discard them. And we also have that Genesect to be able to find our evolution metal Pokemon with a bunch of different item cards and all that kind of stuff. So basically the goal with this deck is to hit hard with Mega Excadrill. You can heal it up with Jumbo Ice Cream. You can take less damage because of that Stadium card. You play a bunch of metal energy because you're going to use Matang's ability to find those energies and attach multiple energies per turn. And then we have stuff like Energy Recycler to put energies back into the deck. So it's a really cool, interesting build. All the lists that I've seen kind of all play that Precious Trolley, which makes a lot of sense. And that's why you're running 4 Petrol and 4 of the Team Rocket's Transceivers. That way you can just go turn 1 Trolley. If you miss that, it's kind of just GG's, you lose. It'd be like that sometimes, you know, sometimes you're just gonna have bad luck and you have to kind of accept that. So it seems like that's kind of the case with most of these lists here. One comparison I do want to kind of quickly make with this deck that it kind of reminds me of a little bit is the Dialga Matang deck that Andrew Hedrick won a regional with in Indianapolis a couple years ago. So this is a deck that I actually played myself a little bit. It was a really cool deck where basically Matang was that engine where you can attach more energies. So basically, once during your turn, you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach as many basic metal energies as you find to your Pokemon, essentially. So you play a bunch of metal energy. This one had 15. You constantly use Matang's ability. You attach as many metals as you can, and you basically hit hard with a Pokemon. Back then, it was Dialga V-Star, which had the ability to basically skip your opponent's turn, which was kind of insane. But in this case, with Mega Excadrill, it's just kind of hitting hard. Since Dialga kind of rotated, hasn't really had a place, I feel like, but I think with this deck it makes a lot of sense. The Drillbur is also kind of nice because you do have Call for Family, which is always a good card, so it's always good when you can kind of start the game off and go for a Call for Family. So even if you do prize Trolley in this case, I know some of those lists are playing like 1 copy of Buddy Poffin, so you can still put down some Beldums. You can also go for Call for Family here and get your Genesect and get something else down as well in case you prize Trolley. So always really nice. But this right here is the Excadrill. So again, the main attack that we're going to be going for here is Maximum Drilling, which does 200 damage, and it also does 130 more if there's at least 2 extra energies attached. So basically for 5 metal energies, you're hitting for 330, which I think is pretty good, considering the fact that we have a bunch of ways to add more energies. You're running 14 energies in the deck. You know, as you kind of set up Trolley and kind of burn through some stuff, like it's more likely you're gonna find those energies. And then this thing has 340 HP, so it's not gonna go down easy. It does have that fire type weakness, but there's really not a whole lot of like fire strong stuff right now. There's stuff like Moltres, which hits for weakness, but it's not knocking this thing out. And we do play the Jumbo Ice Cream, so we have ways to kind of live around that. You know, Dragapult's not one-shotting it. Dragapult plus Dusknoir is not one-shotting it. It does have that Grasp resistance, so if you evolve into this thing, they can't like Badoo you to do that extra 10 damage. So there's a lot of things about this deck that are kind of interesting, and I think that when you're able to one-shot Dragapults and they can't one-shot you, that's kind of always a good thing. We do also have the Undermine attack, which mills the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and hits for 90. Decent attack, I would say. It's not something that you're gonna always be going for, but it's very situational, I think, and there's a lot of times where you can kind of use that to your advantage, like in the late game or even early game. If you can't get anything else going, like you can just start milling some cards, knock out something that's a little bit weaker, and it can definitely be good as well. So I think it's a really cool card. I'm very excited for it. I'm excited for something that's not Dragapult, even though I play Dragapult myself. But it seems like a really cool deck. And again, the other attacker in this deck is that single prize Metagross, which came out in Chaos Rising. I know this is in Japanese, but basically it hits for 150. And then if you discard Metal Energies, it hits for 150 more. So essentially you're hitting for 300 on a single prizer, which is not bad. We have the Energy Recycle, which shuffles, I think, 5 energies back into the deck. Jumbo Ice Cream to heal. We've got the trolley to set up, petrol to find the trolley, and then that metal stadium, which I think reduces the damage that metal Pokemon take by like 30. The AZ's Tranquility is also a healing card, which allows you to switch as well, because that retreat cost is like 4 for Mega Excadrill, which is kind of insane. But overall, it's a very simple deck. You know, you're trying to go turn 1 trolley, set up your board. You're trying to evolve into Mega Excadrill, and then you're trying to attach as many metals as possible to hit for 330 and basically one-shot everything in your way. You're tanky, you can lift stuff, you've got Jumbo Ice Cream to heal, so this seems like it's going to be a very good deck into Dragapult, I would say. Again, they're not one-shotting you, which is very good. And what's also nice is that you do have the 70 HP Beldums and then the 100 HP Metang, so they're kind of able to live there a little bit longer. It's not like Dracloaks where they can, like, you know, move 30 with Monkey Dory and then Phantom Dive it. Like, there's still that extra 10 that we need on top of that. So that 100 HP is actually very nice for Metang, and I think it's very impactful in that Dragapult matchup. So overall, I do think that this will be an interesting deck. But we'll have to kind of wait and see. I think right now it's obviously doing well because everyone's playing it, because it's a new deck and they're excited for it. We've seen this in the past too, where new sets come out and stuff starts off in the A tier or even the S tier, and then it kind of instantly drops off. So I'm sure it's going to drop some more, but I do think the potential is there, at least to compete with all the other decks. You know, I think that Ghost Veil deck is interesting as well. Maybe I'll make a video about that too, kind of giving my thoughts. I did play Lost Zone back in the day, so I'm kind of excited that, you know, some of the similarities there is it's a little bit different, obviously, but single prize deck that hits hard is always kind of fun. So that might be a deck I talk about as well. But go ahead and give me your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think of this deck if you plan on testing it out. I'm excited for it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.